We don't see things as they are. We see them as we are. Anna Eastman. You may have heard of Myers-Briggs or Enneagram personality tests, but did you know your personality also affects your birth? One of the most important things we help our students understand in their preparation for birth is how they uniquely see the world, how they interact with it, and how that very thing will influence their birth in so many ways. Once they have clarity on how they see things and how their birth partner sees things, they start to understand that each member of their birth team will also introduce a new set of views and beliefs based on their own life experiences. Knowing that they will have different expectations and visions of their birth than their care team based on those experiences and reactions of the world better prepares our parents for any conversations that they may need to have with their birth team. So today on the Journey to Birth podcast, we're going to talk about an aspect of birth preparation that is unique to the Natural Birth Compass program: your birth personality type. Imagine transforming the anxiety, the worry, and uncertainty you have about your birth right now into the confidence and knowledge that will end everyone's questions about your natural birth and even have them asking you how you did it. Are you ready to stop imagining your wonderful birth and start preparing to experience it? Then you're in the right place. I'm Tristan, the creator of the Natural Birth Compass online childbirth education program, and I'm coming to your ears with perspectives of birth from across time and cultures to help you become more informed and confident in your birth. So grab your mug, fill it with your favorite tea, and let's begin the journey to birth. As you have lived your life throughout your childhood, your adolescence, your adulthood, you have adopted an approach to living your everyday, day-to-day life, from beliefs about the state of your environment and how you fit into it, as well as preconceptions about the safety of birth, your beliefs of birth, your ability to have a birth you envision. All of those are formed from the everyday experiences that you have lived and how you've adopted to fitting into the environment around you. And what we often forget when we're focused on preparing for birth is that every member of your birth team has also undergone the same process throughout their life. They've developed their own approach to their everyday life, to their day-to-day living, their own beliefs about the environment around them, and their own preconceptions about birth, what they believe about it, what they believe about the safety of it. And they will project all of that onto you. Depending on how aligned those thought patterns are with you and for your birth team's patterns can be exactly what you need or exactly what you don't need, possibly somewhere in between. Now, sometimes you don't have a choice in your birth team, or sometimes you don't realize the misalignment in your birth team's beliefs and their preconceptions about birth until you're going through labor and their true perceptions of birth are revealed. Regardless, if you have done the exploration into those aspects of your life that have shaped how you view the world, how you interact with it, and what your beliefs are, you will have an unlimited box of communication tools so that you can reach almost anyone, because you will now have insight into something fundamental about human nature. And this insight into human nature is what will shape everything about your birth. And today we're going to talk about how understanding human nature can shape your communication in birth. The real secret of human nature is that even though we have differences in our beliefs, our understandings, our perceptions and views of the world, we also have a core foundation that is very, very similar to each other. No matter how different you think you might be, we are actually far more similar at those foundational levels than it would appear or that anyone would imagine. I have worked with hundreds, probably closer to 1,000 families by now, as they have planned for their births in different capacities. And this kind of preparation is very intimate in nature, preparing for birth. So I have had the insight of people sharing their greatest fears, their worries, their greatest joys, and their hopes. They've shared their feelings and their struggles, their wins, and on all of those levels, the fundamentals are always the same from one person to another. And that really surprises people when I tell them, when I'm working with different clients and I show them that they're actually never alone, because their fears and their worries and their hopes and their joys, we share all of these same things at a foundational level. What is different is the filters that we use when we interact with the world. If you can start to identify your own filter and really get clear on what is part of your filter and what it is that is coming from your deepest human nature, you have the ability to understand almost anyone because you can see what is true to human nature and what is just our perception and beliefs of the world. This ability to understand another human being at the level of human nature, that is the most powerful tool that you can take into your birth room. This gives you leverage, the leverage of words, the understanding of how to use the right words at the right time. And those words, they can change the whole atmosphere of your birth room in just one sentence. The right words can give you time, space. They can give you resources and information, or support and empathy, and definitely understanding. So how do you learn to connect with others on this level, even someone that you have just met in this way? At first listen, it might seem like something this profound would be very difficult to learn how to do, but it's actually not as hard as it sounds. There are really only 4 core types of personalities, with subtle fluctuations within each of the 4 types. But if you can learn the basic traits of just these 4 types, you can identify nearly anyone's type within a few minutes and have key insights into how to approach a conversation to have the most success in connecting with them. Now, in the Natural Birth Compass program, we have a simple framework, something like the Enneagram or Myers-Briggs, even love language. But this framework is based on thousands of years of Chinese philosophy and internal cultivation studies, as well as the study of human nature, the basic core of who we are, how we live in societies, how we interrelate with our environment and others in it. It's not a fancy framework, and it looks very simple and is simple to understand, but don't confuse simple for simplistic. It's very profound and provides amazing results for our students, and it starts by simply getting clear on yourself, which is hopefully a subject that you're getting to spend a lot of time with during your pregnancy. This framework that I developed is based on a compass and the 4 directions, which is why I call the program the Natural Birth Compass. If you've ever read any Chinese philosophy, you know that there's a lot of correlations. One of those is the directions. And I love using the directions and chose that for my framework because direction also helps to guide us in the world and through birth. When we have direction, we know where we're going. Within the 4 directions, we all use all of them at various times in our life and in different situations. But we also have one that is our strongest guiding direction. If you've listened to any of the coaching call episodes on this podcast, you'll hear me refer to the dominant direction that guides my students for most of her life, how it supports her, how it challenges her, how it shows up day in and day out as a parent, as a partner, as a friend, and in all the roles that she's had in her life. Now, I can't tell you your dominant type here and now, but if you want to get started on evaluating your own type so you can start to understand your own filter, how it's coloring your life, how it's shaping your beliefs, so that you can take your birth preparation to the next level and start to understand human nature, you can find our Natural Birth Compass assessment at naturalbirthcompass.com/assessment. It's just a few simple questions. It only takes a couple of minutes, and it will help you find your guiding direction. Once you have that information and you really start to see how your filter is coloring and shaping your world and your beliefs and your understanding of everything around you, and you can start to take that to understand your birth, when you really start taking that to an even deeper level, you'll start to see how other people's filters are affecting their beliefs. And you can start to communicate more clearly with people by having that understanding. So go get your download. Again, that's at naturalbirthcompass.com/assessment. Find your guiding direction so you can start taking your birth preparation to a whole new level and really find your inner confidence and your strengths and your ability to communicate with anybody that you need to have an important conversation with. You will never waste your time preparing for birth when you're learning more about yourself and how your guiding direction will factor into your birth. I hope that this gets you excited about your birth and your potential in birth so that you can find so much more enjoyment on your journey to birth. Until next time, wishing you a wonderful journey to birth. Thank you for listening and being open to new perspectives as we spent this time together. As always, let me know how I can support your journey. If you have topics you want to hear about, Guests you'd like to hear from? Questions or comments to share? Let me know. This podcast is always transforming, and you can help shape it into something that helps thousands of families have the best pregnancy, birth, and transition into parenthood possible by leaving a comment or a review, or sharing this podcast with others in your life who will benefit from our discussions. Find me on the socials at Natural Birth Compass, or email me at info@naturalbirthcompass.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss out on our next episode. Wishing you a wonderful journey to birth.